New book from Peabody and Emmy Award-winning journalist, our colleague, NBC correspondent Antonia Hilton, about the history of one of the nation's last segregated asylums.
In March of 1911, officials marched 12 black men who were suffering with mental illness into the heart of a forest in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. They cleared roads, they poured cement, they harvested tobacco, and helped to build an entire asylum. And at the end of construction, they were among its very first patients.
Thousands of black patients came through that overcrowded, understaffed hospital, and many died there. The new book is titled Madness, Race and Insanity in a Jim Crow Asylum, and Antonia joins us now. Antonia, it's great to see you. Congratulations on this book.
Thank you.
It is at once extraordinary and gut-wrenching and appalling story to read through. So tell a little bit more about what you said there, which is how this came to be in the first place. Those people who were, as you said, marched into the woods in 1911 to build their own asylum.
Well, at the time, the Jim Crow system really impacted everything, even hospitals, although that's not usually the site we think of. We think of water fountains and schools, but mental health care too. And so the state of Maryland decided that black patients were the only patients who would have to build themselves a therapeutic facility before they could benefit from it. So they bring groups of patients into the woods and they build what you just saw there from the ground up and then become the patients. And at its height, there were 2,700 patients, hundreds of employees living there. And in those early years, it was all black patients, all white staff. It's not until the 50s and 60s that you start to see real change as more and more black Marylanders get opportunities to work there and start to slowly change the culture and change healthcare outcomes. And this story really takes you through it all from 1911 all the way up to present day. It didn't close until 2004, which is within all of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And I think people don't think about that often, how close this history is.
And part of the power of this book is it is the story of America along the way, too, which is to say that there was this idea out there after emancipation that these black men and women had gone mad in some way, that they were vagrants in America and they needed to be institutionalized.
Doctors wrote about this stuff openly. They would debate in medical journals. They would talk about it at conferences. This idea that emancipation had been a mistake and black people couldn't handle the responsibility of being free and dealing with everyday life. And that's what informed the decision to create these separate institutions and then treat those institutions very differently than they treated all of the other similar hospitals around the state of Maryland. And what I show in the book is that even as attitudes change, that initial founding and all of the kinds of logistical and financial decisions they make because of those beliefs at the outset, they continue to impact the hospital all the way until 2004. It's underfunded continually, even as people come and they're doing everything they can to save patient lives. They have less resources and less support from the government because of some of the decisions that were made in the earliest days.
Antonia, Simone has a question for you in Washington. Simone?
Antonia, congratulations. I am so excited about this book, and it couldn't come at a better time. You talk about how the hospital closed in 2004, but just recently the hospital has been reimagined, if you will, and reopened in Maryland, and it's not lost on me that it's happening under the leadership of a black governor, the only black governor in the country, Wes Moore. Talk about Crownsville 2.0, for lack of a better term, if you will. I know you got a tour of the facility.
We did. NBC got the exclusive tour of the entire property just a few days ago. And this is really unlike any other public historical project. Over the course of the next few years, Anne Arundel County is going to turn that land that you just saw there from this sad chapter from the dilapidated buildings that you saw into a massive memorial park that people from all over the state and outside of the state will be able to come and enjoy. There will be mental health treatment spaces, biking paths, public gardens that kids and elderly community members are going to be able to use. And the entire idea is to finally have a true space of healing and to not run away from, not shy away from, but to recognize what truly happened there. So they're going to have storyboards and a small museum. You know, all of this is going to take several years' time, but the park and the actual green space side of this should be available relatively soon. And Maryland. And there's immense excitement on the ground there in Maryland. And I think people have a lot of questions for Governor Moore and also for County Executive Pittman, who's working with him on all of this, about what this could mean for Maryland. And they're taking people's feedback. They want to know, what do people believe a mental health treatment space, a community space like this, what could it actually look like? What could it represent to you?
So that's certainly encouraging for the future. But let's take a look one more time back into the past. I mean, it's such an extraordinarily racist setup. But tell us about the day-to-day horrors that some of the people who were there had to experience.
Well, in those earliest years, patients were really left on these overcrowded wards. They were left to sleep on straw ticks. They were out on open porches often. There was very little in the way of actual therapy. And the institution was notorious for racial violence, so staff on patient violence. And in the 50s and 60s, you start to see that shift because some of the very first, mostly Black women arrive, and they start to stop white colleagues from doing that to the patients. They start to bring in clothing and shoes and belts for patients who had been left unclothed for years. And they start to investigate their mistreatment and call their family members. I mean, very simple acts of kindness, right? None of what I just described is rocket science. But they started calling family and getting those patients reconnected with loved ones so that they could get out. People were there for 20, 30, 40 years in some cases, something that we can't really imagine doing today. But this is a very recent history.
You've done such a great job to shine a light on a story most Americans don't know anything about, which, as I said, tells the difficult history of the country through this story. The book is titled Madness, Race, and Insanity in a Jim Crow Asylum. The book is available now. It is outstanding.